Good evening, everybody. Comic board. Brush those teeth, my friend. Brush those teeth. How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I realized last time that I did the last week's weekly comics wrap up, I had my microphone here and I didn't plug the goddamn thing in. So I was listening back to the audio and it was just the shits. Sorry while I adjust. I'm trying to be gentle there. Thanks very much for tuning in. Yeah, no live show this week. Scott sent me a message on Twitter with some sad emojis. Yeah, I mean, I was at the con. We had our comic convention here in Winnipeg. I used the word comic convention loosely. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I didn't know what time I was going to be back. And then, of course, with Halloween. So I think it was just a good time for a week off. Ragamuffin, how are you, man? So a few things to talk about. We'll save the con stuff for a minute here. I've started putting stuff away that I was reading. I just caught up on some stuff, basically. Do I have anything out? Oh, I mean, I got this out. I did manage to find Righteous Thirst for Vengeance from Galaxy Comics, where I've still got a pull list. I don't make it down there as much as I used to. I go kind of in waves, checking that place out. So it's been at least 3 weeks, maybe even a month since I was there. And they still had these on the shelf, so I grabbed one. I loved this book. This was a hell of a read. I mean, we'll see, like everybody keeps saying, when it got to the end of the book, we'll see where the story takes us. I'm very curious and I'm absolutely on board with it. And Jared was talking about it too on their show on Friday. The drawing is great, but the storytelling, like the art itself is fantastic, but the storytelling with that art is also pretty top notch. So I'm really glad I was able to get a copy of that. Did anybody pick up? Excuse me, sorry, trying not to make it too loud on that microphone. Yeah, I put a lot of stuff away, my friends. I apologize. There was a few things that I read, but honestly, it was all the books were really good, but nothing like crucial to talk about. It's just continuing stuff that I'm enjoying already. Did anybody else pick up this Batman Long Halloween special? I haven't read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I've got all the other singles in a collection and everything. Loeb and Sale are some incredible creators for my money. So I loved that. There was some books that I picked up from, the usual Comic Addicts group. So we'll just quickly have a look at those. I wish I had more to talk to you about reading wise. I just don't. We'll come to some stuff that I got from the library that I'm reading. So I got this 4-issue Blood, a Tale that was Epic Comics, James DeMatteis and Kent Williams. And why did I think it was another name on there? Anyway, so the 4 issues there. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait to dig into that some more. For a whole $3, I got a graphic novel of the first 5 issues of Warlock 5, which is a book I've always been curious about. I've got 2 of the single issues. They're not as easy to find. Cthulhu Hand Luke, how's it going? Still one of my favorite YouTube handles. So I'm looking forward to this one. This is going to be a really fun read, man. I don't know quite what to expect. But for $3, why the fuck not? Issue number 1 of The Horrorist, Jamie Delano and David Lloyd. It was a 2-issue miniseries from Vertigo. Why am I blanking on Upgrade Soul, their comic board? I feel like I should know. Oh, yes. I am still reading Upgrade Soul. Yes, thank you. It's upstairs. I'm halfway through it. I'm not finished it yet, and I'm still really digging it. It's kind of, it's going it's going places that are interesting. The characters are now interacting with their new versions of themselves and having conversations, and these new versions of themselves are starting to become even more sentient, and they're able to communicate even more. So that relationship is developing as kind of the older people are deteriorating even more. So I'm really digging it. But it's upstairs on the by the bed. So I don't always read in bed, but I haven't read in bed for a little while. Just a few other, got some random ghosts titles because I do love some of these horror books. I will just fly through these. These were all like $1, $2 kind of books. Ghosts again. Some Secrets of Haunted House with Mr. E, not his first appearance, but a Mr. E story in there, which I'm looking forward to. And then Witching Hour, very, very slowly chipping away at Witching Hour. A really great book. And then one that I'm pretty damn positive I had and I actually sold. I may have just bought this copy back. But Creepy Things. So Creepy Things, this is the Modern Comics reprint. It was Charlton, and I think it went for 6 issues. Man, there's some good shit in here. Tom Sutton is an artist in here, and in many things, doing his absolute best Alex Nino impersonation here. I love. I started reading this story, and then I ended up just kind of looking at the art throughout it. That first page is gorgeous. I love the Man's Best Friend title up there. I love the way the buildings kind of just sit on that page at these kind of odd angles. Really, really gorgeous stuff. There's some more pages of it there. Hopefully that's showing up. Yeah, Witching Hour covers are fantastic. Oh man, hardcover collected edition of Warlock 5. I wonder, so was that the entire series there, Ragamuffin? I got the Long Halloween Deluxe cover on the way. Oh, sweet. That's very cool. That's amazing. What else? Yeah, this. I feel like there was a couple of other images here. Let's jump to it. Yeah. This stuff here. I love that. As he's getting choked out there. Hopefully let's completely cover the, and hopefully it focuses. Whatever. Anyway, really, really great. Really great stuff. I mean, I don't know how many times everybody has to say it, but these horror books of all the different companies are always well worth getting, just because you end up stumbling on some really ridiculously good stuff. I thought this was one. No, it must have been another one. Anyway, so that was the stuff I got from the Facebook group. So, the library stuff we'll go to and have a quick look. I brought some stuff back that I had finished, grabbed a couple of other books, including this one with the strangest title I think I've ever heard in my life, Dead Demons Day Destruction. So I got volume number 1 of this. I'm about halfway through it, and honestly, it's just not grabbing me. I'm always up for, whoops, that was upside down. I'm always up for giving some manga a try, and especially because there's quite a bit of it at the library, I figured why not. I've heard this one talked about before. The art and everything is fine. I like this. I actually like this title page, because then when you turn the page, Inyo Asano, when you turn the page, you get, we're on the other side of the lettering, seeing what they're looking at, which I think is very clever. I enjoyed that. That was a nice kind of page turn. It seems so far, and again, halfway through the very first volume, I know that that's not much to really give a taste of anything. While I'm digging the art, I'm just not following what the fuck is going on whatsoever. Every single page seems disjointed to the point of I don't understand what I'm reading here. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm still going to sit and go through it. It is getting a little more difficult to do so because I'm just rapidly losing interest. I'm actually looking at it now. I'm not even halfway through. But I do dig the style quite a bit. So I'll give it a shot. And they've got a bunch more volumes at the library that if I want to go further, I can, because it's not an investment. Now, one that I am absolutely fucking loving. Yeah, the Kiss promo is awesome as well. Yeah, from The Witching Hour. I agree with you. To my knowledge, it collects what was released. I don't think the original series has ever wrapped up. Oh, okay. Understood. Pacing issues. Right. Yeah, this pun had to power through the read. Okay. His best work in quotes. Yeah. So one that I'm absolutely loving, and I will 100% be continuing with this. And there's going to be a collection of something. Is it called Witcher or Witches or Witched or something like that? There's going to be a new collection in English. I think this is the only thing so far that's been translated into English by Daisuke Igarashi. And it's Children of the Sea. I think it was only 5 volumes. Man, is this a really interesting book. His art is gorgeous, especially when he does these color pages. I am digging it quite a bit. Let's get to some of the color stuff here. So from what I understand, because there's a Man Ben interview, there's a Man Ben episode with him, and kind of looks at his creative career. He started as a fine artist and then moved over to manga, and just kind of he does everything himself, or at least in that interview at that time, he was doing everything himself. A lot of these mangaka, they have assistants who will do things like maybe the zip tone or some of the backgrounds and that sort of thing. He does everything himself, and watching him draw is incredible. But his nature and his animals and stuff and the environmental stuff is just stunning. And I wanted to have a quick look. And his figures are they're just a little off. And even his line work on the figures, it almost feels like it's not fully complete. But I really like the feel that gives to everything on the page. There's some stuff where she's riding her bike in the rain, and I just want to see it again. Sorry, stand by 1 second here. Because in Man Ben, he was talking about how he had done some stuff with some rain. It doesn't look like it was those pages. Then I don't remember what book it was from. It might have been from another book. He had done some stuff with some pages where a character was in the rain, where instead of kind of drawing the rain or drawing the drops or drawing that, what he was doing was everything on the page, he was drawing in this kind of shaky, melted sort of line style. And it's amazing samples. So this book is really cool. It's about basically, so far, it's about these 2 kids who were born in the sea and raised by some animals, and they have to kind of stay swimming or stay wet to some degree because they'll really dry out. And our kind of main character, female, runs into one of them, and they automatically have a bond and a kinship. And he feels that it's because they've known each other before, and that maybe she has come from that world as well too, but doesn't realize it. So it's something else. And again, there's some disjointed stuff that happens at the beginning, but it's not so much so that that it feels out of place. Like I'm not having a problem following it. We're still really, really shallow waters when it comes to the story. I know that there's a whole lot to come, but man, I would highly recommend this. And the other thing is, this one has a price tag of $17.50 Canadian. Dead Demons has a price tag of $20 Canadian. And you're getting like, this volume of Children of the Sea is like twice as thick as this Dead Demons one. So I mean, man, I know where my money would go. So this is one that I would actually like. I'm going to read a couple more volumes. It might be one that I try to find for myself to have in the collection here, because I'm really, really digging this. So this is a pretty strong recommendation so far. And the one that I haven't dug into yet, a hardcover, Jiro Taniguchi, A Distant Neighborhood. It's the only other Taniguchi that they had at the library so far. I was doing a search on the library's website, and I just started looking up some authors and artists that I wanted to check more of their work out. And this is the only thing that popped up from him. I haven't started it yet, so I have a lot of time to get into this. So I don't remember if this is another one from Taniguchi that people had recommended or not. Yeah, no, Ragamuffin, really, really worth checking out. And again, check out that Man Band episode too. Sometimes being simplistic can be better at times. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as we've talked about before with manga and stuff, I mean, the pacing of reading, you just end up flying through the pages when it flows and starts picking up that pace. That simpler style, I think, works incredibly. And the thing is, like, even though there's some simple style, and in that episode, you see him doing some landscapes, and the amount of work and the time he takes on stuff, it's really, really gorgeous. Quite a lot of detail going in there, even though it's just kind of, it always just blows my mind about kind of the pen marks, like the marks on the pages, and instead of cross hatching the line making and everything to make up these textures, I think is pretty amazing. And then, because I figured why the hell not, it's a library, why don't I take out volume 1 of Brian K. Vaughan's Swamp Thing. I've never read it. I haven't really given it a second thought. But during my searches, it popped up, and I figured why not. Again, this is another one I haven't started in yet. It's sitting here ready to go, but so I couldn't tell you the first thing about it yet. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what he gives us with this. I'm in a Swamp Thing mood, which you'll also see in a bit. So I figured why the hell not. So that's the stuff from the library. So our comic convention was here. So our comic convention was run by a comic shop here in town. I keep wanting to call it Raven Collectibles, but I think it's Cobra Collectibles. We won't go into too much details about kind of those individuals and the running of the con. I haven't heard a lot of really good things. Hey, Gorvidal, how you doing, man? So the con is now taken over by some Montreal people who do cons across Canada, and they've taken this one over. So it's been, I think the past 2 years we didn't have it. So I think it was 3 years ago that we had the last one. So it's nice to see it back. The pandemic has really obviously changed a lot. So this one we have a convention center where they've added on to the convention center. So this was in the new section of the convention center where the rooms are a little smaller, dramatically smaller now that I was in there. And so the con was really condensed. And just talking to some people there, because there was some people there that I knew running booths and stuff, every single one of them said the same thing, that it's like night and day dealing with the people who run the con. It was such a relief. I hope that this is successful for them and they keep doing it, because this was fantastic to kind of set up and get involved. And it was really easy as a vendor to get your table and get all that stuff going. The downside is, because there's not a lot of people traveling interprovincially, there was nobody from, I thought because it was people taken over from Montreal, I thought that Montreal store would come with, because there was this Montreal vendor that I always go to and had a lot of really good comics. But unfortunately there wasn't. So I think there was maybe 1, 2, 3, there was maybe 4 people set up selling comics. And out of those 4, there was one that kind of had a really nice selection. Again, like, they're really good people. I know them and they're really nice and I love all their stock and stuff. But again, I go to the con because I'm hoping to get to see some stuff that I've never seen before. So I ended up kind of going through comics that I've seen. Although I say that, and then the guy that I ended up buying off of, Wayne, he always has really good stuff, and his booth is always incredible because he has a really good mix. Where I found kind of undergrounds or independent or old horror magazines, that sort of thing, it's usually at Wayne's booth. He's got a really good mix of, here's all your Marvel, DC, everything, graded books, etc., keys, but he always has quite a few boxes that's just random. And he always says the same thing. He said it to me again today. He's like, sorry, man, those ones aren't organized. And I said, don't even worry about it. I love the unorganized boxes. I'm okay, because then I have to flip through one at a time because I don't want to miss anything. And that's part of the fun. So I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more comic vendors. Is it the end of the world? Totally not. We still had a great time. I went with my daughter. She dressed up in her Princess Mononoke. She brought some money. We hit Artist Alley. She bought herself a $5 print. She bought herself some stickers. She got given a bunch of candy from a bunch of the people at the booths since it was Halloween. She got some free stickers. She bought some fidgets, these popper things. And she had a great time, and she was actually really stoked because there was a lot of people that recognized her costume and complimented her on it. And she just got into a conversation with some people about it. She was super cute. When we came in, when they were giving us our wristbands, the one lady was talking to us. Oh, have you seen Howl's Moving Castle? Have you seen this? So they had a little back and forth. And I could tell right away my daughter was really taken by this woman. So when we came back out, she went out of her way to go and see the woman and show her what she got. And they had a little chat again as we left. So it was pretty adorable. But yeah, she's like, Dad, I'm surprised all these people know who I am. It's like, yeah, it's a pretty popular movie there, kiddo. So I think she's like, I'm really glad we came to that. So she had a great time. It was really nice to kind of spend the day with her. We were there for about 2 hours. I ended up going, when I was talking to Wayne, he said that this guy, Mike Ruth, was there signing comics, and he did a variant. So there's this Big Country Comics here in Canada. I'm not sure where they're based out of, but they do like variants. They have artists that do variants, and then they sell them, etc., and put their tag on the back and that sort of thing. They had signings and stuff like this. So he showed me the covers that this Mike Ruth did. Gorgeous, and we'll show them in a second here. Well, we'll show one of them right now. So this is for issue number 9 of the new Swamp Thing, which I'm reading anyway. So I figured, why not support this? So we had a deal going on. If you buy, there was 2 covers. I'll show you the other one in a second. If you buy them both, they're $40. He gives you a free sketch of Swamp Thing. He signs them for you. He ended up giving me a free print as well too. And we just kind of hung out and chatted with him for a little bit. So that was a great one. But this is the one that got my attention. This is he was telling me a story of talking to DC and the editors and things. I'm going to take it out of this Mylar, don't you know? They ended up talking to DC because he wanted the old logo and he wanted the old Swamp Thing. And even in the corner box, they mimicked the comics code. But what it says is approved by the authority of DC Comics. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. So he signed both of them for me, which was really great. I really, really love this one. And again, I'm really digging this Ram V series anyway. I don't have this issue yet, so I figured, why the hell not? And here is the sketch that he did as well. I'll take it out of the bag. He does his own comic series as well, because I was telling him, I said, I apologize that I don't know this already. Do you do interiors? He says, no, I have my own comic. He says, I really love doing covers. He's like, that's what I mostly do. And he had variants that he'd done for an Ice Cream Man, for a bunch of other stuff, for Department of Truth, that kind of thing. But again, I mean, it's just ones that this Big Country Comics has kind of paid for. I don't quite know how this kind of world works when it comes to doing these exclusives and variants. You make a deal with the company, you pay an artist. I'm assuming you have to pay the company as well. You have to pay DC as well. I don't really understand. And then here's the little Swamp Thing sketch that he did for me as well too, and signed. Really, really nice. He was telling me, talking about he never had a chance to meet Bernie Wrightson. He kicks himself because he was at a convention with Bernie, and just missed him. So he never had a chance to meet him. And he said that this one is one that he drew. So here's the print. This is one he drew just after Bernie passed away. And he just found he'd never really drawn Swamp Thing before. But once he got into it, he found himself kind of drawing Swamp Thing repeatedly. And once his own dad passed away, even more so. He said it almost became like this morning ritual, this morning prayer where I'd sit and draw Swamp Thing and kind of think of my dad and do this stuff. So I mean, super nice guy, really, really great artist. He had two different prints for Swamp Thing. One was color, and this one was black and white. And I think this one I think this is the better of the two, to be honest. Or it's the one that I really kind of went for. Gorgeous. See if I can get that a bit closer there for you. Really, really stunning work. It was the last one that he had. Yeah, and he just said, because I think the deal was the two comics and a sketch, $40 Canadian. And then this was $10. So he said, don't worry about it. Just give me 40. I'll give you that one for free. It's been really nice chatting. And so super, super nice guy. I'm glad that Wayne showed me the books, because he wouldn't have been on my radar. I saw his table and I saw his banners and everything, and I did see Swamp Thing, but I don't normally go and give that side of Artist Alley too much of a look. We don't. Yeah, it's a good question, Cthulhu. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I mean, I'm not one to be able to discern. I don't claim to be any sort of expert on these things. There's elements here that look really hand done, but like, what the fuck do I know, right? Either way, it's gorgeous. But yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But I don't usually pay them too much mind. It's not that we don't get artists here in Winnipeg that I'm not interested in. We have in the past. It's just that for those kind of things, there's usually a big long lineup. It's usually a lot. It's usually really expensive to go and see these people. I don't focus too much on it. I'm not one to really collect signatures, all of that stuff. Not that I don't appreciate it when I do get them, but it's not kind of in my kind of interest that much. But it's cool, man. It's good shit. And seeing him just draw this as he's chatting was really nice. He had a kind of false start on the back there, so it's really nice just to see someone sit and create just with a brush pen. This was all just with brush pen. Really cool. We saw him. He was doing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff when we got there, and he was doing like ink washes and stuff as we were kind of waiting for our turn. So just to see that happen too was pretty great. But yeah, so beautiful fucking cover. Love this one more than the other one. But like I said, free sketch. It was an easy sale to get both covers. Sorry for the mic noise there. Put these down there. And then we'll just back up here. Let's see what I missed here. Someone calling me a queer. That's awesome. Super cool internet. Never read that. Brian K. Vaughan. But Brian K. Vaughan is a good writer. You should compare it to the Ram V when you're done. For sure, yeah. Just haven't been able to connect with BKV as a writer outside Paper Girls and Saga. Don't tell Gore. Been reading Grant Morrison's X-Men. Emma Frost's Pure Mischief, wrecking mental havoc with Scott Summers over his love for Jean. So Grant Morrison, was that, did Quietly do some stuff with Morrison on that X-Men run? Mononoke Mask is a secret pass to the Kool-Aid. It's funny because a couple people says like, wow, you got cool parents. And I'm like, hey, no, this is purely her. This was her choice. This had nothing to do with us. Yes, we watched the movie together, but it was her choice to go as Mononoke. Yeah, no, and this one was really this convention. I think because she was asking me, did I come with you 3 years ago? I'm like, you absolutely did, but you wouldn't have been really as interested. I think you came with us because we were going. So this was the first one where she really like was conscious of here's what it is and oh look at this stuff. And she like for the first kind of 45 minutes, I just let her lead me around wherever you want to go. I'll follow you. Don't worry, I won't lose sight of you. You can stop and look wherever you want. Stopped and chatted with people. It was pretty great. I'm really glad that we did it. Um that cover class A shit, Tony Montana. Wowzers, that's killer. Yeah, no, really, really good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Oh, yeah. The other Van Sciver. Yes, that's right. Okay. And then I just picked up a small stack. I wish I could tell you that I got a whole bunch of stuff, and man, I had a list going. I went through my CLZ last night to kind of like, let's put some things down in a notepad so I can stay focused, limited budget, and all that kind of stuff. And I had literally dreams about digging, such a fucking nerd, literally dreams about digging through boxes and then, so I mean, again, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was disappointed because when I walked in and we kind of did our first circuit. I'm like, so is there another room where all the comic guys are set up, or is there another floor? And it's like, no, this is it. And I mean, again, it totally makes sense. There's not a lot of people traveling to cons out from other provinces due to limitations, due to et cetera, right? So I totally get it, but I was still disappointed. I was really looking forward to digging. That said, though, our mini convention is back, the one that the guys from the flea market put on, and that one is 95% comic based. And that's one that I've sold at before. You get a table for like $50. So that one, again, it's all local guys, but still, I think at this point, a lot of us are just jonesing to like flip through boxes. And so I think I might try to hit that one up. We'll see how it goes, though. It just depends. I think it's coming up not next week, but the week after. I think in 2 weeks it starts. So anyway, a couple of the things that I found. Avenging World by Steve Ditko. I think this was just a one shot. It was cheap enough. I'm always a little hesitant with this kind of Ditko stuff. But man's compromise in life, giving up the good for the evil. But again, it's some Ditko, man. It's really some good shit in here. Everyone ought to do what is good. Everyone must do what is good. So we'll see. We'll see what this one is like. I think this is a reprint of one that came out. Yeah, this comic book is over 40 years old. Yet in those 40 years, little has changed. They're still printed, blah, blah, blah. 1973 is what the year is in this one. The Neutralist. You did, hey, Gore? Okay, well, that gives me a little more hope then, because I wasn't sure. I mean, I picked it up, but I wasn't sure what I was going to be in for. And then I found this as well, too. Another Ditko. What? Ditko's H Hero series. Love this cover. Love these covers like that. And then going on to the back, Void, Cage, and his usual, let's just take Shade the Changing Man type characters and create more characters that sort of fit in that world. So this one looks great as well. So that's pretty sweet. Two Ditko books. I was all about some Hello Chaos and Comics. I was all about some Red Circle and Charlton, and there was a few that popped up, so I figured I'd jump on them. And again, don't know much about it. I see Alex Toth's name on this Black Hood, issue number 1, and I grabbed it. and then some gray moral on the back too. I don't know anything about this book. I think it only went 3 issues with Black Circle, but again, figured why not. A little bit of Crossfire vibes, a little bit of you know, let's see who did the Gray Morrow story. Carrie Burkett, and art by Gray Morrow throughout it here. And then there's a write up here. So I'm guessing Crusader Chronicles. It looks like maybe there was a Black Hood previously. Again, brand new to me, unknown. Couple of bucks, why not? I try to get these when I find them dirt cheap. I only have a couple. I'm curious about it. Once I got off the high of the Young Master and stuff, I think it might have been Russ Works talking, you should check out Yang and House of Yang. So when I find them for cheap, I just grab them. I only have a few issues at this point, but this is a pretty great cover, so why not? There's a look at the insides there. And then eventually, once I have enough, I'll sit and read through all of them. One that I thought was a DC, wasn't there a DC title? Madhouse 2 or something that only ran for a few issues. This is Madhouse from Red Circle, number 96. So from what I'm seeing in here, again, kind of an anthology horror. Art by Sal Amendola. In this one story here, Devil's Matchmaker. I'm just really digging this kind of stuff lately. I'm digging these kind of, third tier artists, not to be insulting, but you know what I mean? Just kind of opening pages and not really knowing what you're going to see. The credits, unfortunately, are all over the place. Sometimes there's full credits, and sometimes, like in this one, there's no credits at all to be found. But yeah, that cover jumped out. It was the only issue that he had. And because I got this, it made it to my list of I want to look for more creepy things. And I ended up finding issue number 1 from Charlton Comics. Unfortunately, that was all that he had in the box. Issue number 1 from Charlton. The issue number, I don't think there was an issue number 1 reprint from Modern. I think they only reprinted 2 till 6 or 2 till 9, however many issues it ran. So that's a good one. I haven't really sat and flipped through some of these yet. Was this the one? Yeah, still in pretty decent shape. It's the first story there. Read the signs. So cool. Very cool. Yeah, the cover is fantastic. Let's see if it says anywhere. Sorry for bumping the microphone. Oh no, it's Gray Moral. It does say Gray Morrow's signature is there. So that's who did it, and I love this lettering. And again, I'm sure that DC had one that was Madhouse, or if it wasn't Madhouse, it was something that used this lettering exactly the same. I can't put my finger on it though. He always has a couple of underground comics. Ripoff Comics Anthology is one that I remember kind of reading over and over again, the few issues that I've had. It's not one that I find very much. I think the earliest one I have, well, now I have number 2, but before this, number 4. So the first 3 I could just never find. Man, once I saw this, I was really hopeful that he'd have some more, because he had a bunch of other undergrounds. All ones that I had, though, minus just these 2, or at least this one for sure. And these are great. You get some Wonder Warthog, you get Freak Brothers, you get some Fulbert Sturgeon, you get some Bill Griffith, Gilbert Shelton, Dave Sheridan, Ted Richards, Justin Green is in here as well too. They're really thick issues. I think this one cost me $7, but again, I'm more than fine shelling out $7 for this. And I just don't see them much. There's some Bill Griffith. I don't see them out there that much. So yeah, I would recommend these. They're quite a bit of fun. They're not kind of your really extreme underground stuff where it's really, really raunchy. There's some raunchy stuff in it for sure, but I would say it's more on the kind of tame side when it comes to your underground comics. A little more kind of independent vibe as opposed to underground vibe. And then this one, the cover jumped out at me. I didn't even look at my CLZ app because I knew that I didn't have this cover. It turns out this is the second print of issue number 2. I already have issue number 2, but I figured, what the hell? I have it now again. It's got a different cover. When it comes to collecting kind of different prints of this underground stuff, I'm okay with that. Bizarre Sex is quite a title. I don't have very many. It's another one that I don't ever see out there in the wild. It does get a little raunchier than most for sure. But overall, Mr. Otis, it's those two dumb bums. Yeah, there we go. So this is from 1972, 1973. Oh, no. Sorry. So this is the second printing cover. The one I have is the first printing. So the second printing is from 1977. And then just a couple of DC titles to round it off. There's kind of in the 200s of Wonder Woman is kind of what I'm collecting. These ones specifically, 241, 242, 243, and 244. I think a couple of them have Spectre appearances in them as well. So I'm just missing number 243. So here's issue 242. They're just fun. And again, I'm not hardcore hunting for these, but they end up popping up. Oh yeah, there we go. Dr. Fate and the Spectre in this story, at least for a page anyway. I've read some of these with my daughter as well too, and they're pretty fun to sit and read together. And then issue 244 as well. And finally, the only Phantom Stranger in the bunch, but it was one that I didn't have, number 21, in beautiful shape, actually, like really, really nice shape. So it's another one that I'm not going out of my way to hunt down, but I can't leave it behind. So, and like I said, I was there to buy comics. I was really, it's like, God damn it, I'm buying this shit, even if I'm not completely blown away by what I'm finding. It was still fun to dig through some bins. So there we have it. I won't pound those on the table there. That's the mini comic convention. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. That is it. I hope you had a good Halloween. Yeah, no, that Phantom Stranger is a great cover. They have some Phantom Stranger run has some really good shit. And I love this DC Bat logo. So that was one of the things I saw. Is it Porcelain? What's that book that Damien was talking about? I had issue number 1. I just kind of lost track and I didn't get issue number 2 and 3. I saw them both at Galaxy, and I picked up one of the covers. I think it was for issue 3. They had kind of an homage to this sort of horror, and it actually they recreated this logo, and I think it said Porcelain in there. Oh no, maybe it said the company Ablaze in there instead, but it really looked like an old DC horror book. Those 2 issues were pretty great, actually. That Porcelain, it's really opening up a little bit. Still really gorgeous art, and I think Damien was saying the same thing, that I'm digging it. That the first 2 caught my interest for sure, the art more so than anything, but it feels like issue number 3 is starting to give us a little bit more. But the colors on this one are really great too. That silhouetted figure in the background in the electric chair, I'm guessing, yeah, is really great color. That yellow and that red was that sunset background. That's it, my friends. Thanks very much for hanging out. Sorry. Thanks very much for hanging out. It was good to see you all. I grab Ripoff when I see them. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look to see if there's a Madhouse DC. What if Bizarre Sex creators did the Fantastic Four? It would just be an orgy, Gore. It would just be an orgy. All right, guys. Thanks very much. And we'll be back next week. We'll be around for our weekly chat. Comic Board, was it next week that we were going to have you on again as a guest? I believe it was for next Sunday, right? Is that the date we focused on? So yeah, join us. We'll be on somebody's channel, mine, Ross's, Damien's. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you.